You're not the only one replaying the past, brother. You just do it differently. You'd sit there in silence, staring at your ceiling, letting the moments replay like a movie you never wanted to end. But her silence? That doesn't mean Pasit means she's carrying the war alone now. Internally, she looks calm, maybe even happy on the surface. But inside, it's chaos. Every time she hears a song that you both used to vibe to, something in her pauses. Every time she walks by that spot where you made her laugh, where your hand brushed hers, or where you looked at her like she was the only one in the world, it flickers in her. But she doesn't let it linger. She doesn't reach for the memory like you do. She buries it. She shoves it down with the weight of distractions, new people, loud nights, mindless scrolling. That's how she copes. Not by forgetting you, but by drowning the thoughts of you under noise. You feel the pain like a pulse. It's honest. It's real. But she feels it in the quiet, in moments no one else sees. That's the game you didn't know you were both playing. You feel it openly, while she feels it secretly, but neither of you has moved on. It's not really. You're just showing your grief, and she's hiding hers behind layers of, I'm fine. You think she's cold because she hasn't reached out, because she hasn't slipped up? But in reality, every day she doesn't reach out is a day she has to fight herself not to. You're not forgotten. You're just buried beneath distractions she's forcing herself to chase. And the truth that hurts the most is, you haunt her more than you think. The only difference? You feel it. She hides it. Asterisk silence is never just silence, brother. It's a message, a weapon, a test, a mirror. You think she went quiet because she's healed? Nah, she went quiet to see if you'd break first. That's the real game. She's not reaching out because she's overused. She's staying still to see if she still has a grip on you without lifting a finger. Every day she doesn't message. Every hour she doesn't react, she's watching, wondering if you'll cave, if you'll be the first to send that just thinking about you text. It's a quiet challenge, and most men fall for it. They flinch. They fold. They can't handle not knowing, so they reach out, hoping for clarity. But giving away power? But when you don't break, when you stay calm, steady, grounded, that's when everything shifts. Because now she's the one overthinking. She's the one checking her phone, wondering why your name hasn't popped up. That silence she once used to control you, it backfires. Because silence only works when the other person reacts, the moment you choose not to. That's when her silence starts to feel like a gamble she's losing. She'll question if you've moved on, if you've stopped caring, if maybe, just maybe, she miscalculated. And when doubt creeps in, it's no longer your silence being tested, it's hers. The key is not using silence as a tactic, but as a truth. You're not ignoring her, you're respecting yourself. That difference is what confuses her most, because you're not playing games. You've stepped away from them. You're not trying to trigger a response, you're mastering yours. And that right there is the beginning of your shift. From the one who reacts to the one who's no longer controlled, let her wonder. Let her silence work against her. You're done chasing echoes. Asterisk, she may look like she's doing fine, but don't let appearances fool you. Guilt doesn't wear makeup. It doesn't post on Instagram. It doesn't laugh at brunch with friends or flirt back in the DMIs. Guilt shows up in the quiet. It arrives when no one else is around, when the noise dies down, when the room is dark and the phone screen is lit but empty. That's when it hits her. That's when she starts asking herself the hard questions. Did she do the right thing? Did she walk away from something real? From someone who actually saw her, held space for her, gave a damn? Guilt is a slow burn. It doesn't rush. It waits. And the longer you stay silent, not to manipulate, but because you've chosen yourself, the louder that guilt grows inside her. She might have made the decision to leave, but decisions don't always come with peace. You're out here doing the inner work, building something solid within yourself, while she's chasing distractions that don't last past a Saturday night. And when the thrill fades and the temporary feels start to wear off, that's when your absence hits different. Not just as a memory, but as a contrast. Because there's a difference between moving on and numbing out. She might have walked away, but peace didn't follow her out the door. You're Your silence forces her to sit with what she tried to avoid, herself. The truth she doesn't want to face is that losing you came at a cost. And that cost doesn't show up in the photos she posts. It shows up when she looks at her reflection and doesn't feel proud. Guilt lives there, in your silence. It amplifies it. You're not being cold. You're being still. And stillness has a way of echoing louder than any words ever could. Asterisk, you want to know what really gets to her? Not your anger. Not your pleading texts. Not even your frustration. What truly rattles her is your silence. Cause when you were calling, when you were trying, when you were explaining how much you cared. She had confirmation. She knew you were. Still emotionally available, still reachable, still hers in some subtle way. But when you went quiet, truly quiet, not to punish, but to preserve your peace, everything shifted. You became a mystery again. Mystery is magnetic, especially when it comes from a man who used to be an open book. Suddenly she doesn't know what you're thinking. She doesn't know if you're healing, if you're seeing someone new, or if you've genuinely let her go. That unknown starts to eat at her. The same silence she once found power in becomes the very thing that shakes her confidence. Now she's the one wondering. She's the one overanalyzing your absence. Did it? She'll lose something irreplaceable? Did she misjudge your strength? That stillness? That emotional calmness? It's unnerving to her. Because a man who can walk away with dignity, who doesn't need to scream or chase or prove his worth, that man stands out, becomes unforgettable. While others flutter with attention, you give her space. While others try to win her over. You focus on winning yourself back. And that silence, that quiet strength, speaks louder than anything you could have said. She's realizing now that your presence was powerful, but your absence, it's undeniable. It lingers. Questions. Her decisions, it forces her to sit with the possibility that she didn't just lose a man, she lost a man who chose not to beg. And that choice? That's what replays in her mind when everything else goes still. Because silence backed by self-worth. That's haunting. Asterisk. There are going to be nights where the weight of it all pulls at you. Nights where your chest feels heavy and your fingers hover over your phone, tempted to send that message. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. You care deeply. You still do. But here's what you need to understand. Strength isn't about shutting off your emotions. It's not about pretending you don't miss her or acting like it. Never meant anything. Real strength is about feeling every single ounce of that pain and still choosing not to act on impulse. It's about honoring your emotions without letting them control your direction. You resist not because you're bitter, but because you finally understand your value. You know that a man's worth isn't measured by how hard he fights for someone who walked away. It's measured by how he rebuilds after the silence. You're not trying to win her back. You're not trying to prove a point. You're learning to sit with the discomfort and grow through it. That restraint you're practicing, that's emotional discipline. That's maturity. And that's the difference between men who break in the silence and men who are shaped by it. Every time you choose not to chase, not to beg, not to Folger, not losing something, you're gaining a deeper version of yourself. You're turning pain into power. You're turning silence into strength. And as you grow, something powerful starts to happen. Her silence no longer holds weight. Her presence or absence no longer defines your peace. You begin to realize that the real victory isn't in getting her back. It's in not needing her to feel whole. That's the shift. That's when you become a man who doesn't just survive. Heartbreak, you become the man who rises from it, steady, centered, and unshakable.